Now, as a person who has come out of the tight circles of government and maintained those relationships, how would you counsel those who are praying for our nation and its leaders to focus their energies if you're a praying person for our government?
William Wilberforce is one of my great heroes, John, as you know, because he led the campaign against the slave trade. And he not only led the campaign against the slave trade in England in the latter part of the 18th century, early part of the 19th century, but he said that God had laid before him two great objectives, the abolition of the slave trade and the reformation of manners. And he ran that campaign. But they used to pray, the Clapham sect, the group of men which surrounded Wilberforce, used to pray 3 hours a day. And they would pray and say to God, may you yet find a remnant of your people here who are faithful to you, that you will spare this nation. England was more decadent then, at that period of time, than we are today. I mean, every minister had a mistress. There was the rotten borough system. Vested interest had bought out the politics. That's where that term comes from. Slaves being sold, the biggest item of commerce of the British Empire. They prayed, just let there be a remnant. So one of our prayers has to be, let there be a remnant of faithful people here that will allow you, God, to continue to bless us and permit us to continue as a free country and as a country that honors you. Secondly, I would be praying for great wisdom for our leaders. And the prayer that I pray for George Bush and the Speaker of the House and Democrats and Republicans alike, the Supreme Court, is that God would give them the wisdom as he gave Solomon to judge right and wrong. That's what a government has to be able to do. I would be praying for protection against those who would destroy freedom, protection against the terrorists. I would pray for softening of the hearts of the people who have access to the culture-forming instruments of our society, whether it's the academy or it's the media. I would be praying fervently that God would open their hearts and let them see that there's a more righteous way to live and a more righteous way to produce products that influence how people live and think.
The fullness of Christ.
Fullness of Christ.
Not just a religious experience, but an ongoing walk with the Lord.
Yeah, it was Aristotle who said, I don't care who writes a nation's laws, let me write their songs. We have to remember how influential music, art, the habits of the heart, the dispositions of people, that's what really changes the society. And that starts with us. And then we pray that the Lord will help us to be a light, that people will see that, and that hearts will be changed.